Yeah.
Motion to reconvene, moved by Chris, second by Rick. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Agenda question, bless you. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. I'd also like to ask that you give the resolution number also.
Okay. Evelyn Slockbauer, 43 Thunderhead Place. I had a question on item G, contract award for Mahwah High School switchgear generator project. I just wanted to know how many bids were received and the amounts of each of those bids. Thank you.
Off the top of my head, I don't know the amounts of each of those bids. I believe there were 7 bids received, ranged from the 718, which was not actually the low bid. The low bid I think was 660, but they backed out. And the high came in the high 8s. It was a moderate range.
Okay.
I have a printout, but not with me as far as what.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw out, just to get it off, the budget was originally, I believe, about $930. So, you know, we came in below budget by the 200,000+.
Good job. Sorry, any other questions? Superintendent's report, please.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just a couple of pieces tonight. The first is a congratulations, and that is extended to Kristen Trebono, who is our science supervisor, grades 6 to 8. Kristen is in the process of working on her doctoral degree, and part of that includes, for all of us who have been to school or have kids, writing a lot of papers. But it's awfully incredible when a paper that you've written is acknowledged by the American Educational Research Association, which is made up of scholars across the country. There were 13,000 submissions, and Kristen's paper, Fostering Science Teacher Leadership for Sustainable Change, was chosen. And in that way, she'll be able to attend a conference. And it is the largest gathering of scholars in the field of educational research, so we are proud to have her on staff and proud to acknowledge her accomplishments. So we wanted to do that publicly this evening. It is, it's wonderful, and I'll extend that to her from all of you. It is, it really is. It's, you know, you write your papers and you submit them and give them to a college professor and you get your grade and you move on, but to submit it and to have a number of people say this is really incredible work and we want you to come and share it with others is really amazing.
And the topic of the paper was?
The topic of the paper is Fostering Science Teacher Leadership for Sustainable Change. How perfect for our science supervisor. It really is. It's great.
Is it releasable? Like,
can you get a copy of it?
Well, I'm not sure I necessarily want to read it.
I don't know whether or not it's
Other
going to be
people might,
printable, but I'm sure that we could. Absolutely. Yeah, we have ways. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could. I'm sure we could. But it's really great. It's great to have her on staff. I wanted to share that with you. The second is, I was not here for the first time we administered the Pride Survey. Perhaps many of you may recall that. We work in conjunction with the Mahwah Municipal Alliance, and back in November of 2012 there was a survey administered to, at that point, I think it was 3 grade levels, or 2 rather, grade 8 and 12. This year, the Alliance is asked to work in conjunction with us as well to administer the Pride Survey, which has a lot to do with drug and alcohol and tobacco use and kind of getting a handle on that, to grades 8, 10, and 12. And it takes about 30 minutes to complete this 2-page survey, and of course they will share those results with us. It's done anonymously. I am appreciative of the Mahwah Municipal Alliance wanting to work with us as they prepare many of their programs based on the information they receive from our students. It will be done in school, so we'll allow time for that. I also had the opportunity, along with John Pascal and John Stewart from the high school, to attend the Mahwah Municipal Alliance get-together at the Brick House this past Monday night, thanking sponsors for the work that they do. Remembering TJ was a most recent program that they had, which really made an incredible impact, and they often do parent workshops and events over at the Sheraton, which are incredibly well attended. And interestingly enough, one of the things that they said when they were speaking to the group of people there is they did the program during the day for students. And it was about parents who had lost their child to suicide, which is one of those topics, unfortunately, that are out there. And a number of those kids went home and said, "Mom and Dad, would you please attend the parent workshop?" So there were 60 more parents than typically go to these kinds of things because their kids said, "We just want you to listen to what it is that they have to say." So our appreciation goes to out to the Alliance, but in addition to that, that pride survey and information about that will be going to grade 8, 10, and 12 parents, and that will be administered in December. So just wanted to let you know, and when we get those results, I'll be more than happy to share them with you.
Do the parents get the choice to opt out?
Yes, they do.
They do, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Okay, absolutely. They can definitely opt out if they're not interested in their child participating. Those are the two pieces for this evening.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, no, Dennis, you go first.
Sure. Just brief. We are in the process of interviewing for a school psychologist position over at Lenape Meadows. We interviewed 4 candidates today, Lisa Rizzo and myself, and we will be interviewing 2 more candidates tomorrow. And the goal is to have someone on the agenda for December 3rd.
Great.
That's all I've got.
Anybody from ESS involved in that search with you?
They haven't been
They don't do it?
involved, no.
It's also a psychologist for Lenape too, Chuck, so,
Okay.
you know what I mean, the ESS program
Yeah.
we currently have in the middle and the high school.
Okay.
Mr. Datula?
Well, I think we already discussed the bid opening, and Mr. Dolan will later on discuss the audit.
Yeah, we had a finance committee meeting earlier, so I'll talk about that.
Okay, great, thanks, Jim. I don't have anything right now. Committee reports.
I know
John.
negotiations have
Jump right in.
introduction.
Just earlier today at 6:30, the finance committee met, and we got our hands on the audit for the end of last year, for June 30th, for the first time. So it just came in the board office yesterday, and the finance committee had an opportunity to just quickly peruse it. So we really don't have much of a discussion on it this evening, but there, you know, one of the things that your eye tends to go to is what the auditor's recommendations are toward the end. We will have a further, a more full report on this at a later meeting when we have an opportunity to go through it. But at any rate, the recommendations that came out of the auditor's findings, there are about 11 purposeful areas that they look at. And those areas range from administrative practices to pupil transportation, student transportation, athletic accounts, student activities, school food and food services. And basically what they do is they'll come back to Ed and talk to him about what it is that they need to do better. And the recommendations that came back in each category were that we don't need to do anything better, that we're doing everything that the way it's supposed to be done and then some. So I'd just like to congratulate Ed and the office, Ed, for as long as I've been sitting around this table, and it's been a while, that has been the norm, that the recommendations coming back from the auditor are that you don't need to do anything differently than what's being done. So congratulations to you and your staff for a very clean audit. We'll come back to you with specifics as to what the nuts and bolts of it were at a later time. But thank you, Ed, for you and your staff for the effort that you put in to keep our district running well.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful job. Were there any other meetings? Chuck, you want to?
I can just briefly point out from a negotiation committee perspective that there's an item 15F that's in front of the board tonight, which will basically ask the board to ratify the the agreement that we've reached with the MEA. They ratified, and so it's our turn. So this will be a one-year deal, and we'll start again shortly. So that's the negotiation.
Thank you very much. Board member remarks? Like the new pictures, yeah, they're great.
They turned out great, didn't they?
Yes.
We just ordered for them, as not for the pictures, for the wall, signs underneath, so it'll say Mahwah High School and then be in George Washington, and be able to rotate them, but it's really nice to see kids.
Yeah, it is.
Great. I'm glad you noticed them.
Yeah. Thanks. Any other board member remarks? No? Okay. I'd like to do, I'm gonna take 15A. I'm sorry. Oh, you want me to start on 14? I'm sorry. 14A by itself, please. Thank you. Moved by John Dolan, second by Chris Davis. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
14A, Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Abstain.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Salverini?
Yes.
Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Shaw.
Yes. I'd like to take 15A through E. Moved by Doug, second by Rick. Questions or comments? Roll call,
15A through E, Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
And I'm sorry, 15A through E?
E.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Salverini? Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Shaw.
Yes. I'd now like to just take 15F by itself, moved by Rick, second by Doug. Questions or comments? I would like to thank the negotiations committee and especially the MEA also for coming back to the table when we thought it was a done deal that we would not get this done. And I'd like to thank everybody for the work involved. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to be done in December, and I have to tell you, this is one thing that was important to me to get finished this year. So thank you to everybody. And if anybody here representing the MEA, please go back and give them my thanks.
Just throw out one additional comment there to Ed and his team. It's hard to negotiate if you don't have good data. Whenever we got to a situation where we needed data, it was there, it's always there. So made for an expeditious session when we did get together. And gotta thank Rick for his comments at the session when they were all here that I think helped actually get the meeting scheduled, and Trish, you as well, for your insistence that we get together one more time.
Good things.
Good things happen when you sit down and talk.
They really do. It's fabulous. Roll call, please.
All right, 15F, Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Abstain.
Mr. Salverini?
Yes.
Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Shaw.
Yes, I'd like to take 15G. Oh, and H, is that it? G and H. Moved by John Dolan, second by Suzanne. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Okay, G and H, Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Salverini? Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Shaw.
Yes, I'd like to take 16A through P. Moved by Rick, second by Doug. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
16A through P, Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Salverini? Mrs. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Shaw.
Yes. Public questions or comment? This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes.
Evelyn Slotborough, 43 Thunderhead Place. I just had a question about the capital reserve account balance of $7,200,000. Besides for the switchgear project that's on the current agenda, how many other projects are going to be?
For the 3 boiler projects that are pretty complete, at Ridge, Betsy Ross and George Washington, and then the Univent project that's 90% complete over at JK. So this is the fifth and final one. The other four will be done in this fiscal year, whereas the other one will go into next summer.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, I was just curious, the teacher contracts, they're usually 3 years, correct? Is there a reason why we're 1 year? Is it just the negotiations didn't go as well as you would have hoped?
You're correct. Usually we do 3-year agreements, and that is almost always the preference, so that you only have to do it once every 3 years. Back in the fall, when the MEA approached administration, they'd expressed an interest in doing a 1-year deal. And I think the biggest reason for the 1-year deal is there's presently a law in effect that requires teachers to contribute to the healthcare premium. This is the 4th and final year of the phase-in that law required, so this is the peak year. The law has a sunset provision, and so it will now go back to the state legislature to determine what they intend to do going forward. And so the 1-year deal is essentially a way to basically equalize both parties' stake, so to speak, in whatever changes that law may require. I have no idea what that might mean yet, but the contribution from the teachers to healthcare premiums has been meaningful, and probably approaching private sector is probably
I think so.
a good way to say it. So that's why we did the 1-year deal. The 1-year deal took longer than we hoped, to be candid. We were hoping to do the 1-year deal, frankly, last fall. Just took a little bit longer. But we don't meet every day either, just so everybody's aware of that. It's not like we sit down in the same room for 10 months and talk to each other. So
It's sporadic.
it is sporadic. So that's the reason.
That's the way.
So, and I don't know when we'll start again, honestly, but we have to start before the expiration of the next one.
Okay.
So.
And Dr. Schoen, one last thing, I'm not sure as far as how much exposure the teachers get to training with students with ADHD and what I consider like invisible disabilities. Perhaps it could be looked into, and perhaps the teachers could get even a little bit more training to be able to better deal with students who have those types of difficulties.
Certainly something that we can look into, and I understand.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to adjourn. Suzanne? Rick? All in favor? Aye. Anybody from Ramapo College that needs their things signed? I think you'll make your